Hi, and welcome to the Trading Bell Show. We are on the Trading Bell, on the trading floor, NSE, and we have the new Chief Executive, that is none other than Frank Mwiti, for this exclusive. And really, it's a congratulations to him for making it all the way to the top. And we want to get to understand what is in the offing for him as the new captain in the house. But first, before we get to that conversation, let's take a look at his profile. Frank Mwiti is the Chief Executive of the Nairobi Securities Exchange PLC. Mr. Mwiti is a dynamic and accomplished business leader with more than 2 decades of diverse and international professional experience in strategy, governance, business development, risk management, corporate finance, mergers and acquisitions, and performance improvement. Prior to his appointment, he served as a partner and Eastern Africa markets leader for Ernst & Young, responsible for leading strategic business development for EY's assurance, tax consulting, strategy and transaction services across Kenya, Ethiopia, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi and South Sudan. Previously, he worked as a manager, banking and capital markets advisory at PricewaterhouseCoopers and EY, United Kingdom, as well as an associate director, investment banking, UBS, UK. Mr. Mwiti equally served as a management consultant, investment banking at Deutsche Bank, UK, and as Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director, Africa Capital, UK, a firm he founded and in which he was involved in advising Deutsche Bank and Lloyds Banking Group across forex, equities, fixed income, commodities, synthetics, and listed derivatives in London, New York, Frankfurt, Singapore, Moscow, and Hong Kong. Frank Mwiti, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Maina.
Yes. First, I would like to congratulate you for really making it to the top of this particular appointment as the new captain in the house. And there's a lot of expectations from you, and definitely coming in at a season where we would want to know what is in the offing for this new captain.
Sure.
And also, of course, just what's your basic feeling about taking up this position?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Maina.
Yeah.
I think the first place to start is to first say thank you to the board of directors of the Nairobi Securities Exchange for having the confidence in me to take up this role. Okay, and it is true that it's actually quite a challenging role. The process itself of getting to where we are now was of itself very challenging. But I have every confidence in the future of the NSE.
Yes.
And with me coming in as the new CEO, the first place I think is to say I recognize that the NSE is very, very instrumental to the growth of our economy in Kenya. It's a key tool for spreading wealth and, more importantly, driving economic activity in our country. So I don't take this responsibility lightly.
Okay.
And then number two is to also say that the ideas I have to grow the NSE on the back of the foundation that my predecessor has built does require new thinking. And hopefully in the course of this conversation I'll share some of that.
Sure.
But the point is that I'm up for it.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we really wish you well in this particular endeavor.
Thank you.
And just before we even get to your focus areas that we'd want to talk about, I'm sure in the introduction, some people are getting to hear you. A lot of people actually for the first time. And in as much as we have read your profile, they would want to hear, who does Frank by himself say he is? You know, if someone wants to ask, who is this guy? What would you say?
Interesting. I think the first thing that is important to share is that I've held various senior positions in private sector for quite a while. Have over 23 years professional experience, both regionally as well as globally. Working in investment banking, professional services, in fairly developed markets as well as here. So there is that part. There is a second part of it, which is I have supported clients who actually, a lot of them are listed on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. So in that context, I have some sense, I would say, of some of the challenges that they probably would want the NSE to help them solve, particularly on matters capital and matters expansion. My career has been built primarily in the private sector, as I said. But I recognize that a platform like ours needs to also interface with other stakeholders, particularly government. And then, more importantly, I think the experience that I've built over 23 years, really, this is the time to actually bring it to bear.
And thank you so much, Frank, for that. And when I spoke to the chairman a few weeks back, he was quite categorical, and he said it's not going to be business as usual, and they were very keen on the person who's going to sit on this to ensure that happens. And I just wanted to ask you, from your end, and now that you're on the seat, what are your focus areas? What do you want to bring on the table?
Understood. Fair point. And you know what? I think the mere fact I'm sitting here of itself is testament to what the chair and in fact the board of the NSE shared about not wanting business as usual.
You're right.
I think it is fair to say I'm not an insider of the let me call it the capital markets fraternity. It's not unfamiliar to me. I've worked in investment banking, corporate finance, M&A and things like this. So it's not an unfamiliar territory, but it's business. It's not business as usual simply because, and number one, I think, given the criticality of the NSE, we really cannot, as a country, we cannot afford for NSE as a key component of the larger capital markets ecosystem to chug along, if I were to put it that way. It needs new innovative thinking. It needs to get closer to its stakeholders and understand what their needs are and innovate to solve those needs. It needs to bring in new thinking from outside our borders, global thinking. And given my background is fairly diverse as well. I've led strategy businesses. I've worked with business development on business development engagements. Of course, I've dealt with boards before. I think the business as usual thing is going to be a natural thing for somebody who was not of the capital markets, let me call it ecosystem. But for somebody like me, I'm coming here to bring growth, bring innovation, and definitely build a very high-performing organization. I'm also cognizant that the where we are as a country, really, if we are not thinking outside the box and more importantly implementing those new ideas, I think there's a higher chance that we still see very flat type performance. Maybe as a closing point on that point is to say in the course of the conversations that we've been having with the board prior to me coming on, they actually themselves actually said, listen, we are actually looking for somebody who will come in and be bold enough to implement innovative ideas and be courageous enough to stick the course. So I'm not here to do business as usual. I think in the meetings that I've had with the NSE teams here, I've shared the same. Where I'm coming from, I'm also not known for business as usual. So this will not be something that I have not done before. And I'm up for it, as I say.
Wow. And we really wish you the best in that, especially the shareholders and investors and potential investors. Look forward to this. Since your announcement, Frank, the market significantly had serious movements. We have seen the equities record the highest numbers ever recorded, bonds market as well. And just looking at the appreciation globally, the indexes and all that, and at some point we're rated the best performing stock exchange. I don't know whether it's the blessing you come with it or what has happened since your announcement. So I just want to know, how do you first of all take this and how do we ensure that we sustain this momentum?
Sure.
Yeah.